Hello, Westbound High. I'm Miss Samantha, your spiritual and community animator, and we are here to do part 2 of our gratitude series. So if this is the first video you're seeing, go back to part 1. Part 1, we talked about what is gratitude and why we should practice it. And now we're going to go deeper into the how we practice gratitude. And so we're first going to just start out with identifying like the things that we're thankful for, who we're thankful for, and the intent maybe behind those things that we get. So this is more analytical. We're going to go, the next video will go more into like specific activities. But this is the first step of just noticing and being aware and a deeper sense of what we're grateful for. So we're going to go through some examples. And so I want you right now, if you're in class and your teacher wants, after I say the what, I encourage you all, you can pause the video and think about who is behind that object and what the intent would be for gratitude. So you can we'll do the first one as an example. And then as we go for the next ones, I encourage you as a class to stop and to dialogue or to journal yourself. If you're home by yourself, you can also do that. Just pause it, write who you think it would be and what the intent would be, or just think it in your mind at least. So for an example, the technology. Okay. So what you're thankful for. Getting an extension on my assignment. Oh, thank goodness. So if you got an extension on a paper or a project that's due, or an exam is now going to be pushed to next week, who's behind that thing that you're grateful for? Who is it? Most likely your teacher, okay? And what is their intent? So why? So intent can also be kind of phrased as a why, okay? So what is it we're thankful for? Who is behind that gift? Who is the giver? And then why? Like, what's their intent? Like, really think about that. So their intent would be understanding, right? Understanding that our students sometimes need more time, need that. Okay. So, and I want you to go, so sometimes, also, if you remember the last video, our brains can jump to the negative faster we can jump to the positive. So sometimes catch yourself if you notice you're automatically thinking to negative intent, to try to refocus, relens your thinking towards a positive intent. So, right, a negative intent for a teacher could be they just don't have time for grading yet, and that's why they're doing it. So don't think about that. Sometimes it's true, that's fine. But I want you to really focus on just training our brain to think of the positive intent for things. A lot of times we jump to the negative. It's our bias, it's our negativity bias. But really remember why we're doing this is to retrain our brain, doing those push-ups and those exercises to help us catch on to the positive. Most likely you want your life to be a little bit more positive and happy. If not, okay. I try to make it a little bit more positive and happy when able. So that's what we are focusing on. So next example, the way your dog greets you when you enter the house. So you can pause now and talk about the who and the intent. So be your family, because your family adopted or got that dog. And the intent would be caring for another, bringing your family together. Another example, an encouraging word when you wanted to quit something. This could be from anyone, but an example would be like your friend. And what's their intent? Their intent is to be supportive of you, loving and caring of you. What you're thankful for could be right now, the crunchy sound and the vibrant color of autumn leaves around us. And who that is can be Mother Earth, it can be Creator. If you believe in a higher power, it can just be nature itself. So it's up to you. And the intent could be providing life. So the next would be our final example, health and public safety measures to protect our society right now. And so who's responsible for that? Our public health workers and our policymakers. And what's the intent? It's to keep us safe right now during COVID. So we can train our brain in 2 ways to look at this COVID and this red zone and these measures. We can focus on the negative, that we don't have our sports, we're wearing masks in class, right? And you have all rights and intents. We all can look at that, and we should. It's not all positive rainbows. But we can also try to work on training our brain Acknowledge the sadness, acknowledge the hassles and burdens, but also then just look for a little bit of positivity. So this is a way for, at least our government is out there looking to protect us and to help us as a society move forward through these challenging times. So even though it's the negative of, I can't have Thanksgiving dinner with my family, I can't go play basketball with my friends, we can retrain our brain if we wish to view the positive aspect of that society, and our public health workers and policymakers are trying to keep us safe and working towards that. So next step is taking more action on this. And so one of the first easy things is also just verbalizing our gratitude. So remember, the gratitude example of getting an extension on your assignment, what do you think you can say? And who would you say it to, right? So you would say, thank you, teacher, for being understanding and giving us this extension. So example of the way your dog greets you when you enter the house, the verbal thanks that we can say, thank you, family, for adopting our pet and providing them for care. The gratitude, an encouraging word when you wanted to quit something. Thank your friend. Thank you, friend, for being my cheerleader when I need it. The crunchy sound and vibrant color of autumn leaves. You can just say out loud in your mind, like, thank you, Mother Nature or Earth or Creator, for the life-giving world around us. And health and public safety measures to protect our society. Thank you, public health workers, for keeping us safe, especially during COVID. So there's a bunch of studies of, we know gratitude and practicing gratitude has major effects on happiness and positivity and mental health. But knowing is like one tiny part of the battle, as we say, right? We used to think knowing was like a huge part of it, but now we realize knowing, okay, it's good to know, we know this, but now what? So now it's about implementing and practicing and changing it into a habit. And so that's what the next few activities in the next video is going to help train our brain, and to really help us focus on those positive things, to retrain our brain, to do those push-ups and catching exercises so we catch on to those positives. So thank you all for part 2 of our video of kind of the how, and how we give thanks and what we say, okay? So I encourage you to practice this. Write down and think about the things that you're grateful for and who is behind it and what was the intent, and then verbalize it. Just practice verbalizing it around, either in your own mind, in a journal, but even better, if you verbalize it directly to the person responsible, then it's a way of spreading joy and happiness. So thank you all for part 2, and I'll be back in part 3 to go over some more of the now what, taking real action.